Carter has just decided not to throw this case out, but to set a scheduled time for motions to be put into court for preliminary and for discovery. He's laid out the dates. He set the time, the next time to be October 4th. Orly Tates is coming down. She has a statement to make, and she had a key witness named Lucas Smith, who flew in from Kenya apparently, and she made statements that she was concerned for the well-being and that he might even be killed because of the evidence that he wanted to get into court today. In spite of that, the Judge Carter entertained the concept he could let this be testified to under oath today, though he's not inclined to do that, but he suggested to the U.S. government attorneys that this might be even in their benefit to hear what the evidence is. So if he rules against her motion to dismiss because they filed a last-minute motion Friday that it was a political question and the court had not jurisdiction, if he rules against that motion, then they would have a heads up on what's coming down the line. Dr. Orly Tates.
Well, Judge Carter has already told the U.S. attorneys representing Mr. Obama and other defendants in this case that a motion that they have filed to dismiss due to lack of standing typically do not get granted. He gave them an indication. He stated about 96% of such motions are not granted. He gave them an indication that it's very unlikely that such motion will be granted by him. He also asked them what would be the harm for the U.S. Attorney's Office to allow a key witness who has been in Kenya, who has information in regards to Mr. Obama's Kenyan birth certificate, to testify in court as a preliminary or a voir dire or have a deposition. And the U.S. Attorney's Office refused to cooperate on this issue. And the question is, who is Department of Justice is representing? Who is U.S. Attorney's Office representing? It is their job, it is their position, it is their mission to represent us, the people of the United States of America, we the people, to protect us against fraud, against illegality, against usurpation, to make sure that somebody who is not qualified to be the President of the United States is usurping the position of the President and the Commander-in-Chief. And therefore, U.S. Attorney's Office needs to provide an answer to the people of the United States of America. Why are they stalling the process? Why did they refuse suggestion by Judge Carter to have a deposition? He specifically asked them what would be the harm. The witnesses here, they're here, why not have a deposition? And they refused to do that. We had also another issue. As you know, we have about 50 plaintiffs in this case. Most of them are high-ranked members of U.S. military. We have a number of state representatives from different states. And it is a large case. And unfortunately, what happened here is that two plaintiffs in this case, Wiley Drake and Markham Robinson, wanted to be represented by Mr. Gary Kripp. I have opposed it due to several reasons. First of all, he stated that they didn't consent to be in this case. If Mr. Drake and Mr. Robinson, according to pleadings filed by Mr. Kripp, didn't consent to be plaintiffs, then I properly removed them from the case. They should not be in the case, and Mr. Kripp should not be in the case as well. Another issue that we had is that Mr. Kripp has a completely different legal theory upon which he operates. As I stated, I'm operating based on the theory of Americ de Vattel that is provided in the Law of Nations, that was used by the framers of the Constitution, in that in order to be the president and natural born citizen, not only you have to be born in the country, you have to have both parents citizens of this country. The problem with Mr. Kriep being part of this case is the fact that time and again on the record in radio archives he opposed that theory, claiming that parentage is not important. This is somebody who should be an attorney for the defendants, not for the plaintiffs, and it is a travesty of justice for him to be my co-counsel on the case, even in a small position representing two plaintiffs. Another issue that we had is that we have filed a state case together. Nearly a year ago, Mr. Kriep took off for Hawaii. He showed up one day before the Electoral College meeting, and at that time he scheduled the case for March, and the case was dismissed as moot. That was the case against Secretary of State Deborah Bowen, and my grave concern was that just like Mr. Kriep has stalled and sabotaged the state case, he will stall and sabotage this case as well. And we had an example of this just today. Judge Carter stated that he can rule on Friday in regards to the motion presented to him. He can rule on Friday. Mr. Kriep stood up and said that he needs more time, that he just became a co-counsel on this case and he needs more time. So we've got already a problem where he is stalling the second case that I have filed, and that's a serious problem. So I do hope that Mr. Drake and Mr. Robinson just withdraw from this case, file a different case with Mr. Kriep, go at their own speed, and don't sabotage this case. And I do have a few plaintiffs that would like to make. We have here an attorney, officer of the court, Pam Patterson.
Okay.
And she can swear this witness.
I,
Cynthia Davis,
state that under penalty of perjury, all that I say is true and correct, so help me God.
All that I say is true and correct, so help me God. I just want to say, I love the Constitution of the United States, and we owe it to the people that we represent. Our whole country is counting on us to do something that's going to say we mean what our forefathers bled and died for, so we could have a Constitution. And I represent people in my district, and when I got elected, I took an oath of office promising to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States. So if we can't get some good answers, it will make a mockery of the Constitution. And that's why it's important for all of us to come together and say we're Americans, and we expect people to stay together, and what's written by our forefathers is what still counts today. So.
Mentioned this, Representative Smith is a state representative from Missouri, and you have worked on the issue of birth certificates.
I have.
You have mentioned that before, and what did you find in regards to the birth certificates and the fact and whether those can be changed retroactively by the state?
Oh yeah, I studied the question of birth certificates, and most of the states can legally falsify birth certificates. They do it every time a child's been adopted, and they take the original birth certificate, and instead of just simply redacting the information, they will put on the birth certificate the name of the adoptive parents as if they were present at the birth. And this happens all the time. And most John Q. average citizens have no idea how pervasive this practice is and how common it is for a state to put forth a birth certificate as if it's accurate when it really is not a true statement of what happened at the time of birth. So anyway, I'm glad to get to visit your lovely state of California, and I'm here to help the cause. I'm not a lawyer, but I certainly applaud all of the citizens who care enough about this country to say we're not going to let our Constitution go in the trash.
This is Officer Clinton Grimes. He has been a Navy officer and currently is an officer of Long Beach PD. He is one of the plaintiffs in this case. He has a statement that he would like to provide.
Hi. As Dr. Tate said, my name is Commander Clint Grimes. I served in the Navy 25 years, both active and reserve. My most recent deployment to the Middle East was with Naval Coastal Warfare Squadron 34 in 06 and 07. Though I was adopted as an infant, I have a long-form birth certificate. My parents presented that birth certificate to enroll me in school, to get me into Little League. I presented it to be inducted into the Navy. I presented it to join the Long Beach Police Department. It was scrutinized to get both my secret and top secret clearances. I've presented it to get my passport. I don't have the least bit of trouble showing anybody my birth certificate when asked. None of my grade school, high school, college, or graduate school records have ever been sealed. I have no problem with anyone scrutinizing any of those records. In the civilian world, I'm a patrol officer or patrol sergeant in the city of Long Beach, and needless to say, I've sworn the oath to defend the Constitution twice. I'll keep that oath till the day I die. I've spent 10 to 15 years of my law enforcement career studying human behavior as a member of a mental evaluation team. It's very difficult for me to turn these skills off. I'm always sizing people up at how they behave. In the law enforcement world, when somebody objects to being searched, it's for one of two reasons. The first reason is that they're guilty of what you suspect them of. And the second reason is they're guilty of something else, and they don't want you to find it. So the questions that follow are these. What are they hiding? Why are they hiding it? And what to extent are they going to hide it? And the third question is the indicator of how much they have to lose if you find it. When I heard of this issue involving Barack Obama withholding his long-form birth certificate, among others documents, my intuition spiked and the question started coming. Why would Barack Obama put a laser print style certificate of live birth on his website when everybody knows that anybody born in the 60s or 70s has a typewritten birth certificate on a pre-printed form? That style birth certificate that he put on his website hadn't even been invented yet. Laser printing hadn't been invented. Why would he seal his Columbia papers and his Harvard law papers? Did he write something that a large amount of Americans would object to? Why are his Occidental college records sealed? Was he registered as a foreign student? What could he be hiding there? Why can't we see his passport records? How could he have traveled to Pakistan in the 80s by his own admission when passports were restricted? And if so, did he travel on a British passport or an Indonesian passport? And then another question that follows after that is, don't you have to be a citizen of one of those countries to hold one of those passports? War, as all veterans know, is a serious business. The job of a member of the armed forces is omnibus. All members of the U.S. military, active reserve, retired, and National Guard, all those who are eligible to be activated, deployed, or recalled, deserve to know that the person who is sending them into harm's way is eligible to be commander-in-chief and therefore can give a lawful order. Following an unlawful order makes us subject to the UCMJ and may even invalidate the protections of the Geneva Convention if captured in battle. Beyond that, all Americans deserve to know the truth. So this is my final question to everyone listening, and I want you to ask this and answer it for yourself. This is a very simple question, very simple question. The question is this. Suppose you were applying for a government job, and I was your potential employer, and I asked you for a copy of your long-form birth certificate. Would you spend $10 and show it to me, or would you spend $1 million and hide it from me? That's all I have.
All right, thank you very much. Who's your next? Listen, my children, and you shall hear of the midnight ride of Paul Revere on the 18th of April. In 75, hardly a man is now alive. You still picking that up? But Orly Tates was here to save the day. Out to here.
Okay, Mr. Smith is going to read the declaration. It was filed this week in court several days ago. Here he is.
Yeah. No, I can't even.
You can swear him in if you want to.
No, it's already there.
Mr. Lucas Smith?
Yes.
And you just went to Kenya?
No. Just let him read the declaration.
All right, good. Read your declaration.
Okay. My name is Lucas Daniel Smith. I'm over 18 years old. I'm of sound mind and free of any mental disease or psychological impairment of any kind or condition. I am a citizen of the United States of America. I'm 29 years old, and I was born in the state of Iowa. I have personal knowledge of all the facts and circumstances described herein below and will testify in open court to all of the same. On February 19th, 2009, I visited the Coast Province General Hospital in Mombasa, Kenya. I visited the hospital accompanied by more than one person, by one more person, a natural-born citizen of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, formerly known as Zaire, and before independence known as the Belgian Congo. I had to pay cash consideration to two different Kenyan military officers, as well as an administrator at the Coast Province General Hospital in Mombasa, Kenya. And this was to obtain the copy of the birth certificate of Barack Hussein Obama. The copy was signed by the hospital administrator. The copy contains an embossed seal. The true and correct photocopy of the birth certificate obtained is attached to my affidavit, which is filed in the court here. I solemnly swear under penalty of perjury that all of the facts stated and circumstances described above are true and correct statements. I have not received any compensation for making this affidavit. Signed, Lucas Daniel Smith. Thank you.
Does he have a copy of that?
Yes, it was filed.
Does he have a copy to show the camera here?
Yes, and it was filed with court. It's in court right now.
Orally.
So this is the original. Hold it up right about here. And this is what the people there affirmed, that this was his original Kenyan birth certificate.
Yes. And as you can see, it's
Got it?
stamped by the chief administrator from Coast Province General Hospital. There's the embossed seal from the hospital. I'm not sure if you can get that close. There's the name of the attending doctor.
What name did he give here at birth?
Well, there's the name of the attending doctor there as well.
James O.W. Ngawa, attending doctor. So we got that? Well, for those you can't read it, it says Mombasa, British Protectorate of Kenya, from the Coastal Provincial General Hospital. Certificate of birth, certificate number 32018, Barack Hussein Obama II, sex male, full name of mother, Stanley Ann Obama, Durham, surname, date of birth 11/29/1942. Full name of father, Barack Hussein Obama, date of birth 1936. On the 4th day of August in 1971 at 1961 at 7:24 p.m. 7:24 p.m. 7 pounds 1 ounce, 18 inches in length, 6 inches width between shoulders. It gives a residence of the mother as Honolulu, Hawaii, United States, and birthplace of mother is Wichita, Kansas, United States. Birthplace of father, Kayaktiang Village, Nyanza, Nenzia, I guess. Occupation of the father was student, occupation of mother was student, and the attending doctor's name was James O.W. Awa. And the signature of the attending doctor is affixed and dated as of August 5th, 1961. John Kwame Odinga, supervising of obstetrics, and followed by a signature, and there is an embossed seal right below the signature here. So that's the Kenyan birth certificate of Barack Hussein Obama, who would then apparently be the usurper president of the United States, holding office in the White House right now. Thank you very much, Mr. Smith, for bringing that forward.
You're welcome.
Do we have someone else?
We have here Mr. Mark Harris, who is a reporter for Glenn Beck Show, #1 rated show on Fox News. He wanted to announce that there will be a rally on September the 12th in Los Angeles. Please, Mr. Harris.
Yeah, for anyone who interested in attending, there's a 9/12 complement to Glenn's 9/12 event in Washington, D.C. It's going to be held at the Federal Building here in Los Angeles at 11,000 Wilshire Boulevard, just off the 405 in West L.A. It begins at 3 o'clock. We're actually going to have events and entertainment and things going on earlier than that from noon on. But we have a pretty good lineup of speakers. They'll be there from 3 to 5 o'clock. It's all about Glenn's. If you haven't seen the website for the 912 Project, go there to 912project.com and look at the 9 values and the 12 principles, and we'll be celebrating those, and basically smaller government, less taxation, more freedom, and legal citizens occupying the White House. Yes, sir.
Mr. Beck is doing, I'm sure we all do. He's out there on the forefront, but he's not addressing this issue. If we cut the head off the dragon, a lot of these other issues will take care of themselves. I wish Mr. Beck would, step up to the plate and talk about this issue, because he keeps saying to his listeners on the radio.
Sir, I can cut a lot of your emotion. We're working on it. I can cut a lot of your emotion. We're working on it. It's a matter of timing. We're going after Van Jones and the czars first, and the obvious targets. We're successful there. We're moving our way up. We're moving our way up.
He talks the talk, but he doesn't always walk.
That's why I'm here.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
And
Did you have another witness you wanted to get?
well, there are just a few announcements. There are a few things that you can do aside from obviously coming to court. You can meet with your state and U.S. representatives and state and U.S. senators and demand that they go on the record and they bring this issue to the judicial committees. Just like during Watergate, there were hearings in judicial committees, and that what precipitated resignation of Richard Nixon during Watergate. They need to uphold their oath of office. They need to make a statement and bring this issue and demand for judicial subpoena of all of Mr. Obama's records to the hearings of judicial committees of state and U.S. Houses of Representatives and state and U.S. Senates. And that's something that will speed up the issue. And also I wanted to kind of update you in regards to other cases. As you know, I have filed the case of Connie Rhodes. She is a flight surgeon due to be shipped to Iraq on the 12th. And just like my other client, Major Stephen Cook, she states that she cannot in good conscience go to another country and fight and take orders of Commander-in-Chief without knowing that he is legitimate. It was filed originally in Texas because pre-deployment training was in Texas. I have also filed in Georgia because from Texas it goes to Georgia, and the final deployment to Iraq is going to be from Fort Benning, Georgia. We also will be continuing with Major Cook's case. As you know, the military has already folded. They de facto acknowledged that Barack Hussein Obama is illegitimate as president because they revoked the orders, the deployment orders for Major Stephen Cook. When he asked to verify eligibility, he stated, "I will gladly go to Afghanistan, but I want to make sure we have eligible Commander-in-Chief." And rather than providing the documents proving Mr. Obama's legitimacy, the military has revoked the order. So today the whole world knows that there is an issue there. I would ask you to support those cases for Connie Rhodes. As I said, was filed in Texas and Georgia, and the case for Stephen Cook were originally filed in Georgia, but because he's a resident of Florida, we continued in Florida. There was retaliation against him where the military has pressured his employer, a small defense contractor company of only 25 people, to fire him. Otherwise, they would have been losing their contracts. And he was wrongfully terminated, and we are proceeding with this matter as well. And other than that, you need to be proactive. Just stand with the signs at the federal buildings, at the White House, at the Department of Justice, at Department of Homeland Security. Yeah.
So step to the mic if you want to tell us who you are.
I'm just an ordinary citizen. I live in Simi Valley, California, which is a Republican area. I live right near the Reagan Library.
Your name is?
Gary Wilmot.
Go ahead, Gary.
Okay, I live 5 minutes from where Ronald Reagan is buried. We have a congressman there that's been there for 22 years, Elton Gallagly, and he's been hiding from me. Okay, he won't answer me. So the message you need to get out to these representatives that are hiding is you tell them you're going to vote them out. If they're not going to stand up for the Constitution and uphold the oath that they swore to, you tell them you're out. You're out. And this is a Republican congressman who basically votes the issues the way I would vote, but he's not standing up on this issue. We need him out, and we need everybody out that will not support the Constitution of the United States of America. End of it. Get them out of here, and we'll start fresh.
Thank you, Gary. I might also add we had a debate for Elton Gallagly about 4 years ago, and the Democrat showed up, the Libertarian candidate showed up, and Elton Gallagly called me and said, Mr. Wagner, you can't have the debate because I'm not coming, because I'm going to San Diego to raise funds for another congressman on that date. That happened to be the congressman in San Diego that went to prison a year and a half later. But he didn't show up, and I said, we're going to have the debate anyway. And he called me back 4 times, twice from his personal cell phone, saying, if you try to have the debate, I'll have Comcast take your show off the air. And I talked to the local manager, said, go ahead. We had the debate without Elton Gallagly. To this day, he has never stood up to debate any Democrat or any independent. And he's not standing up on this issue. Orly, was there someone else you wanted to? That's it? You'll find what happened today. And I might add now, what I saw in the courtroom was a very nervous U.S. government attorney